والهجرة الانتقال من بلد الشرك إلى بلد الإسلام. والهجرة فريضة على هذه الأمة من بلد الشرك إلى بلد الإسلام، وهي باقية إلى أن تقوم الساعة. والدليل قوله تعالى: إن الذين توفاهم الملائكة ظالمي أنفسهم قالوا فيم كنتم؟ قالوا كنا مستضعفين في الأرض. قالوا ألم تكن أرض الله واسعة فتهاجروا فيها فأولئك مأواهم جهنم وساءت مصيرا. إلا المستضعفين من الرجال والنساء والولدان لا يستطيعون حيلة ولا يهتدون سبيلا، فأولئك عسى الله أن يعفو عنهم، وكان الله عفوا غفورا.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to another video. This will be part 6 to my experience in Yemen video series. So basically once we were in the hotel and the embassy was called to assist us, the United States Embassy. They were called to assist us, because we were going to be deported. And the men were, like I said, in the male's prison. And the embassy agents actually went to go see the males first, speak to them, I guess, to see what they needed or see exactly, what had happened and things like that. So the brother that was with us, he helped pay for some of our tickets home. I had 2 children, my oldest 2 children, and he helped pay for myself, my ex-husband, and 1 child. He didn't have enough, and of course himself and his wife. And he didn't have enough to cover 1 child, which was my son. Either my son or my daughter, I can't remember. Yeah, I think it was my son. So my children were 9 months and 2 years old at the time. So my ex-husband, he wouldn't sign the documents to be responsible for the money that would have to be paid back for the embassy helping. So what he did was when they told him that he had to sign for the money, the next day they came back, the agents came back to the prison with the documents, and he refused. I don't know. No, the agent told me that I think the prisoners weren't being seen, or they weren't taking visitors or something like that. But or he refused to see anyone. So basically, I would have to sign for it and be stuck with the debt. And the agents also stated that my passport would be taken when we got to the United States until the debt was paid back. Now, mind you, I didn't have a job. I was a young wife, and I had no way to pay back this money. But, when you're with an individual who is criminal-minded, they don't ever want anything to be stuck to them, and they push all responsibilities on everyone else around them. So, it took us to the plane after everything was said and done, I signed the documents. And the agent who was actually interviewing me, I forgot to mention that she thought I was a kid, like, she said I look very, very young, which I found to be funny, but she said you look like a kid because, I wore the Yemeni Hijrah, which is, if anyone's familiar with them, it's like 2 layers. It acts as a niqab as well as a screen. So, I had to show her, of course, my identity and things like that. And she was shocked because she said I look very, very, very like a child, very young like a child. So I was 19. But anyways, we went. They told us what to expect. We're gonna go to the plane. We'll be taken to the airport and go through customs. And the men were taken out in handcuffs, all the way to the plane, and they didn't take the cuffs off until they got to the plane. And as we were leaving from the airport, immigration, they stamped our passports as deported with no return. So I didn't know we were getting deported actually until that moment. No one told me I was being deported. I just thought we had to leave Yemen and we were going to be taken back home, but that was deportation. So that was a little traumatizing as well. I felt like that show that was coming on, a series that was coming on YouTube called Locked Up Abroad, or they changed it to Banged Up Abroad or whatever, and it was all about people who, Americans, and not just Americans, other nationalities from the West who would go on vacation or go visit certain countries and then find themselves in prison some kind of way. And that's exactly was my situation. So anyways, we get on the plane and I'm expressing my concerns about me not having a passport once we land, and I'm having to pay this money back, and he's assuring me, no, you won't have to pay anything, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, that's what they told me. I had to pay the money, and they're going to take my passport. He's like, nah, I'm not going to owe you anything, blah, 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 because you're a United States citizen, and America is the one who ordered Yemen to get us out of there, and all this kind of nonsense. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Anyway, so I just put it out of my mind. So we had the layover, not a layover, I'm sorry, we had to switch planes when we landed in Egypt. And we had to take a bus from the Yemeni plane to connecting plane. And my ex-husband was trying to get off of the bus. He was trying to convince the conductor that he needed to get into Egypt, and they already had a heads up that we were being deported. So he was trying to convince them that he needed to get into Egypt. And they were like, sir, your ticket says go straight to America. And he's like, no, I'm trying to get into Egypt, blah, blah, blah. He was like, no, sir. Like, it was about to be a confrontation. The man had to get loud with him. Your ticket says go straight to America. So he realized that his game wasn't going to work. And the sister was just destroyed. I think her husband may have been like following behind my husband. I can't remember. Like, this is the plan. We want to just get off the bus and just walk into Egypt or whatever. And the sister started crying like, let's just go home. I'm tired of this. I just want to leave. And I'm just looking like, this is just a mess. What are these guys doing? What is this? So they gave up and we got on the plane to the connecting flight to the United States, but we didn't go straight to the United States. We went to France. There was another layover in France, connecting flight. So while we were going through customs there, or an immigration, there was a Jewish man behind us in line. And my ex-husband does not speak French. However, he got into a confrontation with this Jewish man just because he was Jewish. He was looking at him and saying all sorts of stuff. I don't even know what. And the Jewish man was talking to him in French, like, is there a problem? I don't know exactly what he was saying, but I'm almost positive that's what he was saying. So my ex-husband tells the TSA that this man's harassing me and this and that because I'm Muslim and all this kind of crazy stuff. And they made him get out of line. I know that Jewish man was so upset. He was clear. He was very tall, but he had his yarmulke on. And he looked very, very distressed. Like, are you serious? I didn't even do anything to this guy. And then there was another guy, an agent, who came out and said, excuse me, sir, do you speak Arabic? So he's like, why? Why are you asking me that? No, I don't speak Arabic, right? Which wasn't true. But he said, I just want to know, do you speak Arabic? He was like, no, why you want to know if I speak Arabic or not? So, I get, I would like to talk to you, blah, blah, blah. So he was like, no, I don't know Arabic. I'm just trying to get on my way, whatever. So he was like, they probably think we terrorists and blah, blah, blah. And it was just a whole stressful mess. It was just a stressful mess just trying to get back home. So once we got, we got through immigration, got on the plane back to the U.S., and it was actually quite smooth going back into the country. They didn't ask us much. We came in through New York. There was nobody there to take my passport, but what did happen was they disabled it. The the U.S. government disabled my passport only, no one else's. And they were sending documents to my grandmother's house stating that, I had a debt and that I would not be allowed to leave the U.S. until it was paid. Now, if you do not pay your debt, it grows interest. And some months down the line, was it a month? Maybe a whole year down the line. Yeah, I wasn't able to pay it. But alhamdulillah, my grandmother paid it off. They were sending notices to my grandmother's house. And I had been, alhamdulillah, divorced from him by that time. Exactly like a year later, and she paid it off for me. It had gotten up. I think they gave us a total of $500. The ticket was about $300 for my son, and they gave us $200 traveling money. And the interest had gotten up to about $750. So, alhamdulillah, she paid it off for me, and my passport privileges were reinstated. That was very stressful because, of course, you want to travel eventually, and wasn't able to do that. So now I want to get into coming back to the U.S. and, just trying to get my life back together. And my ex-husband actually, this is what a lot of people go through when they come back. He was trying to, I guess, get in position to start teaching some classes, or at least getting known or something like that. He was practicing his Arabic with the students and all this kind of stuff. And he kept coming to me and asking me, did I want to teach classes? I've never thought about teaching a class ever in my life. So that it never crossed my mind. I've always wanted to learn so that I can know Islam for myself, but it was never in my brain to seek knowledge in order to teach other people. Never. So obviously, it's something I didn't know he was doing. He was out running around, telling people that I was going to be teaching a class, and he came to me later and said, "Do you want to teach a class?" And I'm like, "Well, what on earth would I teach? You know, what would I be teaching exactly? I don't know. I don't. What would that look like? What am I doing?" And so I was like, I never thought about that before. So I just dismissed it, and I guess a month or so went by, and he asked me again, "Would you like to teach a class?" Oh, we came back February 2002. Yeah, we came back February 2002. So this was around March, and then April. I said, okay, I guess I'll teach a class, but I don't. What should I do? So no, I didn't even ask him. I just, like I said, me being young, you just don't think. But anyways, so I basically created a simple curriculum for basic, beginners Arabic, things that I had learned, the grammar, the nahu that I had learned while I was in Yemen. Of course, it's all beginners. He had, and then I created just a basic rules for, beginning rules for Talibal and things like that, teaching that to the sisters. He put me in a masjid. I guess he agreed with the masjid imam about a time for me to come in the masjid and teach or whatever. But he had been out running around in the city telling brothers, oh yeah, my wife's going to teach a class. Bring your wives, or whatever. So, and also teaching the sisters about deviant sets, and also teaching them, Juz Amma. Yeah, basically what I had learned. Juz Amma, and we didn't get a chance to get to Juz Tabarak, but that's what basically I came up with. You teach them beginning Quran, Juz Amma. Teach the women about the varying deviant sects and their beliefs, as well as, so that would be what Aqidah, and then beginners Arabic, everything beginners, because of course I'm a beginner. So I'm like, okay, I'll just teach them what I know. But what I learned, subhanAllah, through all of that, I'm so grateful that I was young and naive, and I actually agreed to that early on, because it taught me so many valuable lessons, and Allah saved me from myself, from going forward with anything like that. So what I learned was this, and I'm telling this story because you have a lot of people who they come back from overseas and Shaitan fools them, or he fools them before, maybe before they even go study, when they have the wrong intentions, and they think that they're going to go study so that they can come back and teach, instead of going to go study to lift knowledge, to live ignorance off of yourself. And that's the reason why you're supposed to go study. And in the course of me doing these classes, I enjoyed it because I love to learn. And I loved the fact that the sisters were learning as well, learning things they had never learned before. And, but the downfall was this. Due to the fact that I was going to eventually get divorced, my ex-husband slandered me, along with someone who was also supposed to be a close friend of mine, who was 10 years my senior. After the divorce, he said terrible things about me, of course, that were not true, but because I decided I couldn't no longer stay in this relationship. And then, mind you, I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but I got married at 16 years old with the intention of going overseas. That's why I got married. I wanted to go overseas. I wanted to go to the Muslim lands. And that's why I got married, so that I can do that. And he was someone who wanted to do the same. So he was the best prospect for me to fulfill this particular goal that I had. And during the duration of this marriage, it was horrible. It was horrible through and through. But, I was seeking a religion. So, anyways, he slandered me, tried to destroy me. And everyone it was a lot of sisters who used to come to the classes. Sadly, so many people jumped on the bandwagon and they spread my name like wildfire. Now, mind you, I wasn't really widely known, not in the Islamic community anyway, because I wasn't really allowed to have friends. I was very, very secluded. It secluded me away from people. Only some sisters knew me, some older sisters, they knew me. Like I said, that friend who was 10 years my senior, and her friends, they were all older than me. So, in the wider community, I didn't start to get known until I started to teach those classes. And as soon as things went south with him and I, he went from praising me to trying to humiliate me. And my name spread like wildfire. Now I'm from Philadelphia. My name spread from Philadelphia to New Jersey, and I wouldn't doubt maybe even Delaware. I'm not sure. But what I do know is that I couldn't go in the masjid. This was after the divorce, of course. I couldn't go in the masjid without people staring at me. I couldn't go anywhere without hearing that people were talking about me. And I mean people who didn't even know who I was. Meaning they didn't physically meet me before. I got information that there were gatherings of sisters talking about me that didn't know me at all. And like we say, I'm not sure if it's a Philly thing, but we say you didn't know me from a can of spray paint. That idiom is used because people spray their names, usually gangs or just youth. They'll tag their names in spray paint so that you'll be known, right? So I guess that's where that comes from. You didn't know me from a can of spray paint. So it was terrible. And I remember crying and being in so much stress. And I just basically, like, I call it fell off the face of the earth. Like I'm saying, I'm not going to deal with anybody because I can't believe that these people who, they were so-called supporting me and benefiting from what I was trying to give them from religion, and everybody just turned on me. And so much so, the rumors got so bad that, this is exactly what my ex-husband said, because he knows I'm someone who likes to seek knowledge. He said, I want to make sure that no tolerable M is going to want to marry you. Now, mind you, that I'm not. I never spoke to him about moving on with marriage. I didn't speak to him about anything like that. He doesn't know what's in my brain if I plan to stay single or anything. But he said, I'm going to make sure no one from England, none of the Tulab from England or from the U.S. want to marry you. I want to make sure that I destroy you. And I'm like, okay. I'm not even thinking about marriage. I'm like, this man is crazy. But I just said, I want to be patient. And I'm not even going to fight back. I'm not going to try to clear my name. I want to be patient. Like Aisha radiallahu anha said, as-sabrun jameel. As Yaqub alayhi salam said, when Yusuf was taken by his brothers, put in the well, and his sons came to him and fabricated the story about the wolf eating Yusuf, and they came with the shirt of stained blood, and that's all I could do. Now, mind you, I'm 19. I think I had just turned 20. Yeah, I had just turned 20 years old when all this was going on. And mind you, I have nobody with me. I may be a friend or two who didn't, but who came to my defense. And they were like, no, that's not true about her. You know, don't believe what he's saying. And I know her, and it's not true. And maybe one or two friends. Other people who I thought were friends, they were on the bandwagon and they spread it, they added. It was a horrible, horrible time. And my iman was definitely tested. But alhamdulillah, knowledge and acting by what you've learned will help you. And calling on Allah for assistance, Allah will strengthen you and aid you, in your times of hardship. And Shaitan came to me through a family member when I expressed to them, what was happening. I was crying, and it was said to me, see, this is why people don't want to be Muslim. And this person is a Muslim. And I said, no. Allah says, do you think that you will be left alone because you say that you believe and you will not be tested? Verily, Allah tests those before you, and He will know those who are true from those who are false. So I was sincere by the permission of Allah, leaving my home and going over to Yemen to try to seek knowledge for His sake. It wasn't for fame. I like I said, I never even thought about anything like that before. And this is my advice for anyone who's doing something like that. Know that you're going to be tested and perhaps even turned against by the people. And if you are not sincere, you won't be able to take it. You won't be able to take it. You won't be able to take the slander. You won't be able to take the heat because you weren't seeking Allah's face and you're seeking knowledge. So I just want to share this so that it would be a valuable lesson for those who your primary idea is to come back and have the microphone in the seat, because I was placed in a situation that I didn't even ask for nor did I think about. But Allah helped me and Allah saved me when it went in the wrong direction. And sincerity will get you aid and assistance at all times. But when you're seeking fame or when you're seeking status, and a lot of people do this, they're seeking fame and status through going to go study, then you're going to fail. You're going to fail. Even if you gain some followers, you're going to fail. Because there's nothing that wreaks havoc on the servant's religion more than seeking fame and status. So that's my advice. That's the end of my experience in Yemen series. In the next video, I'm just going to talk about Sheikh Muhammad Ibn Abdul Wahhab al-Wasabi, and just some things that I observed and I noticed about his household, rahimahullah. Alright, so please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Ma'as salama.